Good morning. This tutorial is going to be how to find Photoshop on your computer, how to open and create a new document, and how to use some very basic brushstrokes. So let's begin. As you can see on your computer, you do not have Photoshop on the dock, so we'll need to find it in either your applications folder, or you can go to the magnifying glass here and type in Photoshop, and you will see Adobe Photoshop CS4. Go ahead and open that. Now, as Photoshop opens, you're going to notice that it takes a little bit longer to open than a normal program. On your computer, it doesn't have as much memory as my computer does, so it might take a little bit. If a screen that comes up that asks you to register, just say register later. So, you will see that in Photoshop, when it opens, there's a big blank area here. This big blank area just means that you haven't actually opened anything yet. So before we open a new file or a new document, we're going to take a look to see what different tools we have here. On your screen, you should notice that you have a toolbar along the left-hand side here. This toolbar is going to be where we're going to modify our pictures at. Across the top, we have an option bar here, and this option bar will give us more functions or options within each tool. On the right-hand side, you're going to notice that you have a color palette, and you have something called layers. Mine's rather large because I was playing with layers earlier. Now the other window that we're going to need to get open is your history window. This is going to allow you to look back at your picture and make adjustments. So you're going to want to say window and go down to history. Now there's nothing there yet because we haven't opened anything. Let's go ahead and open a new document. So I want you to say file and new. And we're going to call this practice brush. Actually, we're going to start with your name. This is Jay, and I'm going to call this practice brush because we're going to practice with the brushes with this one. You want your width to be 8 inches. You want your height to be 10 inches. And your resolution needs to be 72 pixels per inch. Once I have that, I'm going to just say OK. Now this hasn't actually saved anything, it's just created the file. So before I go any further, I want to make sure that I save this to my folder. So I'm going to go File, say Save As. Now it should take your title and add a .psd on the end. That means it's a Photoshop document. And I'm just going to put this on my desktop. You are going to put it into your folder. You know how to do that at this point. So now I have this document here. The first tool that we're going to look at is the selection tool or the move tool. Now there's not anything that we can do yet because I can't move anything because there's nothing on my screen. So the next thing that we're going to look at is the brush. So the brush tool is very easy to use. You just go ahead and click on it, and you're going to have a brush that looks like this. And you can change in the option menu up here at the top. You see where it says brush 125. I can click on that, and there's some presets. So I can make my brushes look a little bit different. I can give it a fuzzy edge, or I can make it small and have a hard edge. If you scroll down, it has different strokes. So this one here will look a little bit like graffiti, and if I want to make it a little bit bigger, I can do that. So it looks like an actual brush here. Now if I don't like that color, I can click down here on my color swatch. I'm going to go ahead and set my foreground or the color in front of everything, and I can just change it to a different blue, and now I can go over top of everything else. And then if you don't like what you've done, you can use the eraser here, and then you can erase stuff out like that. Now my eraser is set, it almost looks like a paint can, so it takes me a while to get through it. But if I change here, and I set it at 19, and I make it bigger, it will erase quicker. So that is the brush. Now the other thing is, if you notice really closely that my two whites are a little bit different, it's because my background is set differently. So if I actually change this color to red, if I I am now using my eraser still, but you notice that the red background is coming through. So that's something that you need to know, that if something's not working, it's probably because your background is set differently. So all you're going to do with this tutorial is continue erasing. And if you want, again, if you want that to go back to white, I'm going to choose way up here in the corner, and that should be my white, and that's going to erase everything. I can do that this way. If I want to erase faster, I can make my diameter larger, so it doesn't take quite as much effort. And there are some pretty cool brushes, so I'm going to go back to my paintbrush. And there's some pretty neat brushes down here at the bottom, so I can do a star, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and you'll notice that it makes these really cool patterns with stars, and then I can change the color. So just go ahead and play around with the different brushes. Make sure that you understand how to change your brush size. Make sure you understand how to change the diameter size or the hardness. Make it very hard or make it fuzzy. Make sure that you understand how to erase your work when you're done. Okay, thank you.